Hey, Andrew.
Hey, what's up, Riley?
Did start a podcast?
Yeah, let's do that. What should this one be about?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I have here a suggestion from my good friend Sarah McCostumes, a podcast where you invent time travel in order to bring people from the past into the modern times, and then interview them about their experiences of the world. For example, their opinion on cars or video games. So I want to start with you and ask you, Andrew. Going back in time, who would you want to guest on your podcast? And who do you think would
So,
freak out the most bringing them to the modern age?
I think you know who I want to be on my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, would be Alexander Graham Bell
Yeah? You're
because
like,
I just want to be like, hey, you invented the phone. You've ruined us.
this is what you've wrought.
So I don't know if you know this. My phone has been broken for a little under a week now. And it is the worst week I've ever experienced.
How did break?
My screen cracked a while ago, and it
Mm-hmm.
was an iPhone 6s, so it's already
Mm-hmm.
old as hell, and its battery was already shot. So I didn't want to put in any money to like fix it.
Uh-huh.
But I've been holding off on upgrading it for reasons. So when the phone shattered, I was like, "This is fine," because it didn't like cover the screen. I was good. And then
Mm-hmm.
like little bits and pieces started falling out, and I was like, "This is still probably fine," because they're not the bits and pieces that I put up against my ear normally.
Uh-huh.
So I don't answer my phone anyway, so it's fine. Um, and then I guess I put it in my pocket, and it got a little bit too close between my thigh and a chair leg,
Oh
or
no.
the little, the hand
Yeah.
rails on a chair, and now it's not good. And it started just auto dialing random things to try and sign me into my phone, and it locked me out. So I was like, well, I guess we're done here.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Waka waka.
So I want to get Alexander Graham Bell on and just be like, you motherfucker, you've ruined me.
You
I
just
can barely go a week right now. I keep thinking to myself, let's put on let's put on a pop. Oh, let me just
no.
look that up real. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, be one of those people that carry an iPad around.
I considered it. I
At
thought about I have wanted to get a tablet for a while now. What if we just pulled the trigger because of this?
that point, just carry. Don't you have a laptop or something?
Yeah, but that's my work laptop. I don't want to. The whole point of using another device is to use another device.
Well, you know how like photography. This is an option to get some gear and stuff for this too. You know how photographers have camera slings, and so their camera just like hangs out their right side, and you grab it, and it comes up, and it's like attached to a bandolier.
Are you saying I need to get myself a laptop sling?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can just whip up the laptop, flip it open, and then plug in with one hand, and then go to google.com.
This will be perfect for mobile podcasting. Who are you inviting on your historical show?
Oh, I should have thought. I want to invite somebody who I think would just they would see the podcasting interface and they would just explode on the like through the weight of it all. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I want to get somebody like if I went back and I was like, hey Mozart, you know how sound works, right? Well, look at this, idiot. I can do sound. You got nice violins you got there. Look, I got a little keyboard does the same thing and it's cheaper, you idiot. You clown.
You're literally recreating the scene. I think it's Beethoven. You're literally recreating the Beethoven scene from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, where he comes up and finds a keyboard that can play sounds from any instrument and just like loses his goddamn mind.
You're right. Fuck.
So in this reality, because we have this time machine,
Mm-hmm.
what 4 historical figures should we bring to the present to start a video game podcast?
Oh, what a good question.
What is the ideal historical gaming podcast?
um okay. What is the most ancient game? Because my brain immediately went to Yami Yugi, but he isn't a real person.
He's not a real person. I keep having this conversation with you. The spiky-haired boy is not real, and he can't hurt you, Riley.
But he's a pharaoh.
So I'm on the same wavelength from you. I do agree
Mhm.
with that. My first suggestion was going to be the guy that made chess.
Yeah, okay. The guy that made chess is there.
Okay.
I think we have some like somebody who's really into strategy and like medieval trick. Who's the fucker?
Hannibal. We get Hannibal, the guy that drove the elephants over the mountains.
Oh shit. Okay. I was going to say who's the like Versailles, like that dude.
Louis the 16th?
Yeah, Louis the 16th is here.
Louis the 16th is going to come on. He's going to be like, "Ooh, there's a solid gold PlayStation just for me."
Yeah, exactly. We're
Just
all
for
like, "Fuck
perfect
you."
boys like myself.
For perfect special boys like me.
Okay.
We have
So he's the guy that like plays all of the mobile games that and buys everything and is like, "This
Mhm.
game's perfect and great."
He's like,
I don't know why you guys are mad about this.
I bought one of those PS1 like portable things and an NES Mini, and it was just important for me to have around.
Yeah,
Is Dan
he's
Riker
like,
Louis the 16th?
maybe.
Louis the 16th got married at a Taco Bell.
All right, we got chess guy, who I don't know. I'm just gonna Google who invented chess.
Yeah, okay, you do that.
I don't think we know who did, but never mind. Legend says that chess was invented around 200 BC by a commander, Han Xin, who invented the game to represent a particular battle. An important battle in Chinese history.
So we've got Han Xin, Louis the
Han
16th. And what if we because here's the thing, Romance of the Three Kingdoms is hypothetically like a mockumentary. It's a thing that happened, and these are the fake stories about it. So these people may or may not have existed.
Okay.
So I think we get Zhang Fei in here, who is a boisterous, intense, like happy to be there, but fucking like angry dude. And I think that fits a lot of the gamer subtype.
That sounds like a gamer.
Zhang Fei is a gamer.
Okay, so Zhang Fei, Han Xin, Hannibal, the original, not Lecter, and not the comedian / landlord, and Louis the 16th. That's our historically perfect gaming podcast.
Yeah, and I think that it's called
Three Moves Behind.
Historical revisionism.
Historical revisionists. There we go. Hell yeah.
All right. I like this podcast, but what do you have laying around?
Sure. So our good friend Jay wrote in and said, Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, but for podcasts, parentheses, and Gordon Ramsay probably isn't there, but I suppose that's up to you.
Andrew,
so I want to pitch to you a podcast.
Okay. Know that we did this.
Right. That's why I'm going a different direction.
Okay, cool. Let's go.
This is a podcast where Gordon Ramsay probably isn't here.
So what
each week we're going to go into our kitchen and we're going to talk as we cook something for dinner.
Okay, all right.
And we're going to say, all right, I'm going to open up this cabinet, and wouldn't you know, Gordon Ramsay might be in there.
I'm working on boiling my rice right now and like cooking my rice, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it. I think it has more time, but if Gordon Ramsay were here, I think that he may or may not tell me that it's done now, and if I keep it going, I'll just burn the rice.
Exactly. We need to cook ourselves meals with the understanding that Gordon Ramsay probably isn't here, but he could be.
He is credited in every episode as Gordon Ramsay, ? Himself.
Exactly. And
I
every
love
week,
that.
there might be a man that yells at us about food. If it is, that's the time that Gordon decided to show up. But most of the time, he's probably not here, but I am keeping an eye over my shoulder.
I always send him the Google Cal invite, and I'm just like, he always says he's coming, and so why is he not here today? I love this. I love surprise Gordon Ramsay. Let me hit you with this idea.
Okay.
This is from me. I tweeted this so I'd remember it. Podcast Tinder. Now this has two options, right? This has the one where it's you as a podcast listener, and you just are like, the algorithm will slowly feed you podcasts, and you either go yes or no on podcasts, and eventually it'll keep giving you great podcasts, and like you'll get rid of all the bad ones. And that's a fine idea. I'm thinking of a much more cursed, terrible idea.
Okay.
Where it's a Tinder, a dating site, but only for podcasters.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to get the good idea out of the way, so that way we can get to the great one.
Okay. So this isn't a podcast necessarily. This is our own. We're gonna get a tech company involved. We're gonna make our own startup.
Give farmers only the website. This is podcasters only.
Yeah. What? Okay. God. I'm reeling. I will say I did So I was in a Discord years ago for a podcast that I enjoyed, and in that Discord, someone asked the cursed message of like, "Who do you think the horniest podcaster is?"
I know the answer to this question.
Huh?
I know the answer to this question is remaining off the air.
Okay, God. But the problem was that all of them were people who mostly followed the work of a popular podcast network that mostly did tech news stuff, primarily for Apple products. And I was just like, these are your guys?
These are your dudes?
This is who you're like standing up to bat as being like, Jesus Christ, what is wrong with you?
These fucking monuments to sin that is tech podcasting.
Yeah, this is a guy that makes a 3-hour podcast every week about fucking Apple news, and this is your guy? This is what gets you going? All right, y'all, I believe in you.
Imagine if you will, you log, and I know that you and I are both at kind of we're at a disadvantage here because neither of us have ever used Tinder, I don't think, because we've both been in long relationships.
Yes, I was lucky enough that I met my fiance in college, like the year that Tinder took off.
God bless you. Yeah, it's fucking same. We are at a disadvantage in that we don't actually know outside of the meme what Tinder is. But here's what I'm imagining. I'm imagining you boot up your app, and it's like first question is, what's your podcast? And you only have 3 lines. So you need to pick. If you have more than 3 podcasts, you need to curate. Okay? The first thing that comes up, you upload a picture of your cover art. Then a picture of you. Then a picture of you recording your podcast. You have to do a little bit where you're selling not only your podcast, but you and
but
what
also
you bring,
yourself.
Yeah, what you bring to your podcast.
Is there going to be room for me to hold a fish?
Listen, if you're doing if this is a podcast about fishing, there you go.
Okay.
And it'll pair you up on 2 axes. You'll have 2 little menus you can swipe through. One is like the algorithm going, I think that maybe there's an algorithm in Tinder, right? Or is it just like, I don't know, shit, here's everything.
I have no idea. I would assume there's an algorithm.
I assume there's an algorithm, but you have filters or whatever the fuck. So there's that one where it's like, I think that this would be a good romantic partner for you. And then there's the other one. It's like, I think that this would be a good co-host for your next show.
Riley, I'm worried that you've just created Tinder, but you filed off the serial numbers and just said now it's for podcasters. I want to hit you with one a little deeper.
Okay.
Instead of it saying, hey, tell us about yourself and what your hobbies are, the way that you set up your profile, it's just a bunch of MP3s. And the first one is going to be, is there anything you want to pitch? The second one is, where can people find you on the internet? The third one is going to be like, tell us about yourself and why you're on the app.
I love this. And here's the thing. I think we've almost now created. Now that you said pitch, that brought me to my brain. Like, this isn't a podcast mind. This is the tunnel of podcast love that we've
Yes.
created here.
What if there's a section for what your podcast recording equipment is, so that we can start those flame wars?
Yes. So you can see people going like, "I'd never date someone with a Yeti mic." And just
Exactly. No, that's the thing. We need this to be the like half Tinder, but we're making half Tinder, half LinkedIn.
Oh,
because
that
everyone
sucks!
is on this. Everyone is on this simultaneously for work and to be horny.
Oh shit, that's really fucking funny.
So I want sections of like basically, but no one can post in you can't type anything. Everything that you post has to be recorded. This is the most expensive tech startup of all time. Because everything is audio file based and needs to be stored.
Yeah, it needs to be on a server, and that's fine. That's one of those things where it's like you have to upload it as an OGG Vorbis. If you don't know how to do that, sorry.
Why'd you even apply to the app?
Why'd you apply here? Are you a podcaster? I guess not. I think this is a great idea.
I'm gonna reach out to my venture capitalist friends.
Didn't that get canceled?
Do that. What?
Didn't that get canceled? Venture capitalist?
You shut the fuck up. You shut up right now.
Sorry, hold on. Let me try that again.
No, Riley.
So it doesn't cut out.
Riley, you're making me very salty, so I'm going to pitch to you from Grizzytron, the podcast brines.
So we're pickling.
We're pickling.
Think a pickled podcast would be like? What do you think if you took a little MP3 and you put it in a little jar, vinegar, sugar, heated it up a little bit, and then let it sit in your fridge for a week to sweeten and ripen?
You know deep fried memes where you take an image and then you just like compress it a bit?
JPEG and JPEG and JPEG, uh-huh.
Exactly. We're going to do that with this. The audio is just going to be a regular podcast, but real crunchy.
Real crunchy. We're gonna put
real
that in.
crunchy.
MP3 28 kbps.
This is going to be a podcast that sounds like it's coming out of your dad's Buick's old speakers.
This podcast is made for a flip phone.
Fuck.
The Verizon Chocolate's first podcast.
It's like revisiting your old PlayStation 1 games and being like, I always remembered Solid Snake having a face.
I always remember these games being fun.
Yeah. Weird how that doesn't hold up.
We nailed it. We're dropping a USB drive in a fucking vinegar thing. Let me
Absolutely.
get you here. This is a suggestion by our good friend Cello Buster at Cello Buster, Alex Keswick. Each episode, the hosts gather one of the 7 podcast balls. After 7 successful episodes, they then Skype call Justin McElroy to ask him to grant their wish. And so, here's the thing: it will work. This is supposed to
Absolutely.
that there are the 7 podcast balls out there in the world.
Who do you think currently has the 7? Who do you think is currently building them up?
I think, because somebody definitely is. I think Hank Green is out there. And he's vying for relevance again. And so he's just trying to collect the podcast balls to wish to gain relevance in that way. You know what I mean? I think he's got 2 of them.
So we'll collect them all. We'll be able to make our wish. What's your wish?
My wish is that I never have to edit again.
Ooh,
my
that's
wish,
a good wish
is that I do a podcast, I close it, people send me their files, and then I have a program that I cannot share with anybody, and I put them in, and out comes a podcast, like I intended it.
It just auto cuts out silences. It syncs all the levels.
It goes, that joke didn't
background
land.
Noises.
Cuts the jokes, re-puts the jokes, adds in sound effects if I want them.
Yeah, reshuffles around and Frankenstein's a laugh out of a file. Cuts out mechanical keyboard noises. Edits out me drinking LaCroix while we're in the middle of recording.
Yeah, it does all of these things. And that is what I'd wish for in a fucking heartbeat. What would you wish for?
I wish for a new phone. I miss podcasts so much.
Yeah, I guess not only have you not been in the podcast mines, but you've been off of the whole podcast quarry. You're out.
I'm out in the fields. I'm tending the I'm trying to think of what the field equivalent of a podcast is. I don't even know. That's
It's
how
thoughts.
far removed from podcasting is.
You're in the field of your own thoughts, just like hanging out, like husking corn, and just
It's
like looking off into
terrible.
the sun. Yeah, why would you be there?
I don't want to be here, but my grandpa's chair broke my phone.
God damn it.
Riley, I got an idea for you here from B with a suggestion for the cutest podcast on the internet.
Oh, so we were talking with the baby voice for the entire time.
I'm going to shut that down immediately. we need to create the cutest pod. We're not. This isn't a goof, Riley. I need you to get your head on straight.
You're right.
We're creating the cutest podcast on the internet.
Okay. The cutest podcast. So, we have 8 babies, and they are about to race. They have all been mic'd up by wireless microphones. They're not in any danger, don't worry. But they are about to do the equivalent to them of a cross-country race.
Okay.
And so they're mic'd up, and so it's just like a lot of little baby sounds over like little creaks and rustling wind. And sometimes you hear like, now this is a visual thing. This is too visual. This is just a chow.
I was going to say, you're going for an
just a chow
ASMR
race.
podcast, except a baby is lingering in the background. We need cute, Riley. I'm talking, this is a podcast hosted by a red panda and his best friend who's a raccoon.
Now, do they talk?
They make very cute little chittering noises that we can understand.
We can understand them. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And they are just doing a podcast. You know what they're talking about? They're talking about their relationships and their friends. This is just two friends talking podcast where 2 little animals tell us about their lives and the lives of the woodland creatures around them.
Okay. What if the cutest podcast is we go around to like this is post-COVID times when it's not scary to be outside. We go to schools with like kindergartens, first graders, and like everyone has signed their fucking forms and shit, and we go to these kids and we just ask them questions. And we're just like, you, a baby, tell me how the record industry works. And a kid will tell you anything. A kid will fucking shoot from the hip like they're the expert on the subject. And so like we could ask them, how does your voice get onto the computer? And they'd be like, a little gremlin runs from the microphone down into my computer with the voice, like one of those tubes at the playground. And like they'll just fuck it up, and that's cute.
Yeah, it's pretty damn cute. Riley, that's really fucking cute.
We did it.
Shit, that's so cute. Riley, I will say we've just invented Kids Say the Darndest Things, the podcast.
Yes, but you know what? One of the crux of this podcast is also the same as the crux of our new Kids Are the Cutest Things. We aren't secretly sex pests.
Yeah, good. You know what? We're getting a lot of mileage out of that.
You'd think it wouldn't be hard, but a lot of great things have been ruined by people just being a shithead. I have one for you here by our friend Scott Paladin at Scott Paladin.
Okay.
A podcast haunted by the ghosts of podcasts that came before.
That's every podcast.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that every podcast you make comes with the knowledge that other people have made podcasts before.
Yes, but this isn't a haunting of yourself. This is the track is haunted. And it's not like, it played a little bit of BB&B here. It is the idea of that podcast. That podcast's soul and personality, we have to assume is alive. We have to assume that each podcast is a living being. And when it dies, the ghost lingers on this earth and goes into MP3s. So imagine now this podcast as haunted by one of the other podcasts that we've done. And
So,
imagine...
so you're saying that we record an episode of we record the podcast vines, but then as we're recording, there's a little lull in the gap, and in that lull, we just hear a noise that's like just a random bit. You kind of tune your ear and listen, and you go, "Is that Idle Thumbs?"
Yeah.
Did Idle Thumbs just come through my? Hold on, is this
Did
is
they
that
say
You Look Nice Today?
Did they say
Hold
get
on.
out? And then, like, it's using the podcaster's voice. It's not like, it is not those two people. It is not the hosts of those shows that are coming to haunt
Sure.
us. It is the podcast becoming a simulacrum of those people and using their words, cutting them together, and haunting this new podcast.
I like that.
It's called
I wanna
I Hear
pitch on a
Dead
different-
People.
I Hear Dead People. I like that. I'm going to
All right,
pitch you on a new show because I don't want to get involved with Haley Joel
Necromancy.
Osment any more than I have in the past month.
Wait, what's that have to do with Haley Joel Osment?
He's the kid from The Sixth Sense.
Oh, I didn't know Sora was in that.
Yep. I got a podcast title for you. This one comes from Scott Paladin as well, so double shout out. Behold, Plato's Mansplaining.
What? So, is it just... What is it? What is this?
Each week, we're going to have a random female listener on the show. And what we're going to do is explain... we're going to condescendingly explain concepts to her about philosophy.
Oh, Plato, not Play-Doh.
Yes, Plato of the allegory of the cave.
I thought
Not
you meant
Play-Doh
Play-Doh.
of the allegory of the children making a cave out of dough.
I was like, I don't know what I can mansplain about Play-Doh. Like, oh, don't mix it together, idiot. Like, I don't know what I can do here.
All right, I'm going to hit you with episode 1 of Behold Plato's Mansplaining. Do you know the
Okay.
reference that the title is?
No, I don't know shit.
Basically, one day Plato, who if you don't know, so Plato was a philosopher. I know you know
Okay.
that part. Plato was also like a world-class wrestler and like athlete in Rome. So he's just like all around a Renaissance man before we had that title, right? So he's talking and giving a class, and someone's like, "What's the definition of a man?" And he was like, "A man? It's a bipedal feature, a bipedal, it's a featherless biped. It's got 2 legs, but it's not a bird." Is basically Plato's answer. So Diogenes, who's a different philosopher at the time, but absolutely not in a high standing as Plato had. He's just like kind of a grubby dude. Basically, he breaks into Plato's class carrying a chicken that he plucked himself. And he's like, "Behold, it's Plato's man."
Okay.
Look, Plato says this is what a man is. What a fucking idiot.
Look at this fucking clown, everybody.
I'm not saying this is a good podcast. I'm saying that I could understand it existing.
Hi ho.
Hi ho.